Somebody's got their summer tan working right now. Justin Hokanson. He's either been to the beach, the lake, the pool, or somewhere. He joins us now, Auburn Live on 3 Sports. Are you not working this summer, man? Come on.
I'm not working this week. I'm just here with you guys, man.
Are you off this week? Really? I bugged you on an off week?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Yep.
Brown's gone, man. I don't have any of the protocols on when to call people. I pulled.
I'm not gonna turn you guys down, man. If you call, I'm here. But yeah, I'm taking the week off, laying low.
If you're scoring at home, I pulled O'Gara today from paternity leave, Saturday down south. Clay's at Cooperstown with his kid. I pulled him in from
Who doesn't have time to travel because he's so busy.
And now I've got Hoke, and Clapp was in the middle of a construction project. I am killing it in booking guests this week. Auburn's our team today as we preview teams counting down to our 40 and 40. And we've talked a little bit about the roster and everything, but you were there. You were there with that roster last year for Brian Harsin. That November roster and the one that takes the field in September at Jordan-Hare Stadium. 50% different, 50% better, 100% better? How different is it going to look?
Well, I mean, you start at quarterback. That's a huge deal. And if you assume that Peyton Thorne is going to be a serviceable quarterback, then that's going to make a huge difference. I think that with this team, man, I see a lot of the outside noise and the outside talk, whether it's magazines or different talking heads, if you will. And 6-6, 7-5 seems to be the number for Auburn. For a lot of people outside of Auburn, there seems to be a lot more optimism inside Auburn, whether it's fans or the program, on maybe what they can do than outside. I think a lot of pieces are just going to have to come together, starting with Peyton Thorne at quarterback. But you've got some potential at receiver, but it has to come together. You've got some potential at linebacker, but it has to come together. You've got somebody like Justin Rogers coming in from Kentucky who's got a lot of ability, but he needs to live up to that 5-star billing. You've got an offensive line that's rebuilt that looks like it's in pretty good shape, but again, they've got to mesh and do it in the SEC and do it with a quarterback. So there's some pieces that the potential is there for this team to surprise people, but it has to come together this summer and during fall camp for that to happen. And so I think that's maybe why there's a little bit of a disconnect between optimism inside the program or fans thinking we would 8 games or maybe 9, and people on the outside going it's 6 or 7 because there's just that potential gap.
It just feels a lot different from a year ago. You know, a year ago, Hoke, it seemed like Harsin was dead man walking. Who's going to be the next guy? This is just kind of a throwaway season. There just seems to be a lot of excitement talking to Auburn fans on, yeah, this year's an unknown. Like, we don't expect a championship. We could win 6 games, but we could win 8 games and be a lot better than we think we are. Is the feel totally different from last year to this year for you?
Oh, yeah, and no question. The feel is definitely different. A lot of that has to do with recruiting. That's certainly making people feel like they can get the talent there again. That feels better. And Brian Harsin, they're just, you gave him a year of fans sort of listening to that rhetoric, but then it just started to grow stale. And so when you have new life, new blood, new coach who's done it in the SEC before, there's some belief there, and the recruiting is a big part of it. He's going out there and battling the elite teams for talent. That gives you some confidence too. But this is, Auburn fans, every year they're gonna think 8, 9, 10 wins, they can do it. And so the belief is definitely different. You talk to players inside the program, players kind of always think this is the year, and they're always pretty upbeat. So that's a little hard to tell. I talked to players last year that said things like, we're doing things in the summer and we're working together and we weren't doing this last summer. Like, I heard things from players last summer and it didn't translate. So you can't always go by what they're saying. But for the fans' perspective, there's certainly a different feel. And I think a lot of that goes to recruiting, that you're going and battling the big boys. And there's a lot of belief that, okay, maybe we can get some actual real talent in here and make some things happen.
Well, the actual players that are on the field this year, though, the team we're talking about, when the first meaningful game where there's a chance you may win, you may lose, do you think the Auburn fans in the stand going, damn, our offensive line is so much better, or damn it, it's our wide receivers that are so much better. Not that every Auburn fan cuss. I should go dang. Dang, is our offensive line that much better, or is it our wide receivers that are much better? Which one of those two groups you think is going to stand out most for the Auburn fan?
Probably the offensive line. I would say the offensive line. That unit has just been a struggle really since, I don't know. I mean, 2017 was the last really good Auburn team, honestly. Since then, it's been a struggle, and a lot of it's offensive line, especially when you look at the criticism Bo Nix received. And when he was here, if you remember, is it Bo? Is it the offensive line? Is it the receivers? People were sort of struggling to pinpoint what was going on. Well, now look at what Bo Nix is doing. You see, okay, that Bo Nix is talented. He's capable. And so it really makes the glaring needs for the offensive line. It kind of points you back and go, okay, it was the offensive line. And so I think that's going to be the unit that people are probably going to be, man, that looks much better. I think that's probably going to be the unit that people look to and think it's much better. The receivers we're just gonna have to wait and see who steps up. I think that's going to be a work in progress through the month of September. Like, who's the guy, 3rd and 11, who do you go to, who's going to stretch the field, things like that. And so that's going to take a little bit more time. I think the offensive line, because you had those transfers in the spring, that should be a pretty cohesive group come game one, because those guys aren't arriving in the summer. They were there in the spring. And so that's probably going to be your most improved group on the team, I would imagine.
Yeah, I wanted to stick receiver. You probably know this, and I think all Auburn fans have heard this. The last 1,000-yard receiver at Auburn was Ronnie Daniels back in 1999. I mean, think about it. It's been 25 years, basically. And I ran across this morning, and this is really interesting. Dating back to first season at Arkansas State in 2011, Hugh Freeze's leading receiver has averaged 946 yards a season. So he's basically got a 1,000-yard guy every year. And based on what you're saying, it's hard to imagine one of those guys, they can become the go-to guy, but becoming a 1,000-yard guy seems like a big jump.
Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, I don't think they've got that guy. Maybe, but the receiver position for Auburn has honestly just been a black hole for a long time. Some good players, serviceable receivers. Every now and then you get a guy that's pretty good, but boy, it's been a long time since they've had maybe a receiver that you would say is one of the top 5 receivers in the league. That's just a position that's eluded Auburn in terms of landing elite. They've had offensive linemen, linebackers, defensive linemen, running back, cornerback, quarterback, you name it. Receiver's the one position that they just haven't had elite talent at. And yeah, on this team, I'm not sure I see a guy that's going to bust out with 60 catches and 900 plus or 1,000 yards. It's possible, but when you bring in that many portal guys, you're certainly looking for somebody. I think it's going to be sort of a committee. I think there's different guys that'll do different things. Rivaldo Fairweather is going to catch balls at the tight end position, and so I'm not sure there's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver, but you hopefully have got enough options that you can score touchdowns through the air. Whether it's Shane Hooks, Jair Shorter, who like half his catches were touchdowns last year. Fairweather, like I mentioned, Javaris Johnson. Hopefully you've got enough options that when you're in the red zone, you've got a couple of different guys potentially to go to. Shane Hooks, by the way, is a guy that he's a massive target. He is a big dude, well-built, huge hands. He's a guy that could be a real touchdown maker, or a guy that could be maybe your first target in the red zone. That could be a problem. I don't think anybody's going for 1,000 yards, but I think you've got some guys that can help get you touchdowns in that short field.
Auburn at number 29 in our 40 and 40 countdown. Hoke on vacation joining us here. For my wife, it's brownies or cake or cupcakes. For my daughter, it was always ice cream. And for my son, it was Snow Biz, the little frozen ice thing. For your wife and your daughter, are they cakes or brownies, or are they ice cream when you take your little daughter for a little treat? Is it ice cream or is it frozen ice? What is it?
Oh, it's ice cream all day, every day. Ice cream, chocolate ice cream most of the time. Every now and then some toppings, but no, it's ice cream. It's ice cream in the morning, ice cream at night. It's always ice cream for the little one. Yeah.
Jenny's salted caramel. It will change your life.
What is it?
Jenny's is the ice cream salted caramel, the flavor.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is fantastic.
LT has become a social influencer for Jenny's all this summer. He has discovered his go-to in ice cream.
Unfortunately, yeah. I got tonsils out a few months ago, Hoke, And in that, obviously, like most kids, I was eating ice cream. And the ice cream that I went to was Jenny's, and now I can't get away from it. It's addictive.
Jenny's salted caramel.
Salted caramel, yeah.
Yeah, we have some stands in town when you want to come up there, but you can get it in your local grocery store too. So whenever you're in town.
I'm more of a chocolate. I stay in my lane. I go chocolate.
Well, they got some good chocolate too.
I'm a redneck. I like the vanilla custard, the soft serve, even from Dairy Queen. I'm pretty simple. I like to add my own flavors to it. Give me the basic, and then I'll add my own flavor to it. So I'm the old triple option of ice cream guys. Just give me the basics, and we'll make it work. Justin Hokanson, man, thank you. Auburn Live on 3 Sports. A lot of good content coming. I know who he was talking to earlier, also on his day off. So some good content coming on everything Auburn right there. Auburn Live on 3 Sports. Great deals right now. You can get to subscribe to be ready for football season. We appreciate you, Hoke. Thank you, buddy.
Anytime, man. See you.